So Emily, we're going to make a nice needle case now, okay? So we've got wadding in there and fabric as well, and we're going to stipple through the wadding to get a nice, really nice quilted effect. Yeah. The machine will do the stippling for us, but you obviously can do that by hand as well.
Like a free motion.
Yeah, exactly.
Stitch,
yeah. So we've got the hoop ready to go. We haven't put the wadding all the way to the edge because we don't want the wastage, but you can do that if you want to as well. You can put the wadding all the way through the hoop. Right. But we've just stuck ours down with a nice easy stick-on spray. Okay. So if I hand the hoop over.
Lovely.
Okay.
So I was thinking with the embroidery that we've got on there, you could always personalise that with someone's initials, couldn't you?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, and use different fonts, different size of stitch as well for the font, and you can use different shapes and things. You can really personalise it to how you want to use it. We don't have any stabiliser on this piece because it's quite a light design. So we don't really need it too much. It's not a really dense design.
Well, it's almost quilted,
exactly,
isn't it? And the wadding's going to give that softness.
Yes, so and that little bit of stability that it will need. So
okay, so we'll finish off the design.
Yep.
And then we'll trim that one.
Yeah. So we've stippled around our needle case, and we've also embroidered some lettering here as well. Like we said before, you can change that to whatever you like, personalise it, put initials on there, and the shape around the edge as well. Okay, so we're going to put this over the top. So this is the inside.
And we've trimmed away, haven't we? All that excess that we had in the hoop.
That off as well.
So it's all nice and neat.
That's it. And so I'm just going to put this layer over the top, right sides to right sides.
Okay.
And then just put a couple of pins in there so we can sew around the edge.
So we're going to
leave a gap.
Leave a gap all the way around, but leave a gap for turning.
Yeah, that's it.
I think I'm going to do that in the long edge at the top because it's a lot easier to
definitely, and it gives you a little bit more room as well to leave a gap. You can put a double pin as well, which is a good tip.
Yes.
So you remind yourself to stop.
Yes, because we always forget, don't we, and end up leaving a small gap. Everyone's guilty of doing that.
I'll give you that one.
Right, so I'm going to do 1/4 inch seam allowance. Because we've got that wadding, I thought it'd be a good idea not to have too much bulk in the seam allowance. If you're not confident at sewing 1/4 inch, you could always sew half and trim away any excess so you haven't got bulk in the corners. So. Just going to leave my needle down as I turn the corner, and then we'll get a really nice crisp corner on it as we go around.
Real nice finish.
Yes.
Isn't it? Yeah.
And just a standard stitch length, 2.5 roughly. That would be absolutely fine for here. And you shouldn't need to change your needle either, but if you're finding the wadding's slightly harder to go through, perhaps go up to a size 90 needle. Might be a good idea. And just remember, when I get back to this last side, to leave that gap. There we go. Nearly there. And when I get to the end, I'm going to back stitch. So as we turn it the right way out, we're not going to strain those stitches at all. There we are.
Lovely. So we've sewn around the edge and we've bagged it out. Before we did that, we did trim the corners, didn't we? So we've just got a nice neat...
It's a really good idea when you've got that wadding there.
Yes.
Extra thick, so definitely take the bulk out.
Trim those corners off. So now what we're going to do is top stitch around the edge. Give it a press as well, so you can press in your gap, so your edges are nicely neat in there. And then we're going to place the felt inside. So in this one, we've got the felt in there to place our needles.
Like pages.
Yeah, exactly. So it's like a little book. So find your centre. I mean, you would normally measure this, but you can just fold it in half like that. If we place a pin in the crease there, then once I open that up, that's kind of where my centre point is. Yeah,
so exactly.
That's it.
Okay.
So if I just pin that down for you.
I'm going to turn my stitch length up, I think, because we're top stitching. I think it will look a lot nicer.
Yes, yeah. And also it's a little bit thicker, isn't it, with the felt there, so once you're doing that section.
Yeah, and you'll definitely find that if you're working with a thicker fabric, you need a longer stitch length because the thickness of that fabric will eat up your stitch length, so to speak, and shorten it. So, okay,
so there we go.
Right. All right. So I'm going to go around the outside first, and we'll close the gap as we do that,
exactly.
won't we?
It's like a 2-in-1, isn't it?
Yeah, that's brilliant. And just position that carefully. I'm going to sew as close to the edge as I can and try and keep it neat because obviously this is going to be on the finished needle case, so we want a nice finish, don't we, as we go around.
Exactly. If you've got markings on your foot, this can be quite ideal to use those to line up the edge of the fabric, so you've got something to kind of work with as a guide and getting your needle nice and close to the edge of the fabric as you go. And again, you leaving your needle down is ideal for this.
It's really nice to pivot round, isn't it, on the corner.
And then once we've done all those stages, we have got a completed needle case, haven't we?
Yeah.
But what we've done on this one is add the button and the little bit of ribbon as a closure too. I mean, there are lots of different types of closure you could do. You could use a button and ribbon like we have done here. You can use a smaller bit of ribbon. You can also use Velcro, press studs.
Fastener,
yeah,
exactly.
All sorts of different things you can use.
I like how we've used the covered button though, and we've used
Ties
the
it all
fabric.
in, doesn't it?
Yeah.
It's nice. Yeah.
It does. It gives a nice finish. Right, so I'm nearly back at the beginning where I started.
Lovely.
Just about an inch to go. Just secure those, and then I'm going to top stitch down the middle of the felt. So I'm just going to sew straight down the middle to secure that. There we go, beautiful, all done.
Yeah, so all we need to do now is just add the fastening to close it up.